As-Salaamu Alaykum and welcome to Sands of Qurbani series, the show that answers your questions on Qurbani and gives you more information on the technicalities and the Sunnah of Qurbani. My guests today are Sands of CEO Yasmina Franca and Sands of Western Cape General Manager Shafiq Baransa. As-Salaamu Alaykum, shukran for joining me.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We are in the third episode of our series, and Sister Yasmina, we decided that this episode will answer some of the questions that are asked by the public, and we get these questions every year during this period. So I'd like to start off with asking, can you tell us, is Qurbani compulsory on all of us?
Shukran for that question. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Very important question. It's something that we are asked every year, so I think it's important that we cover the question. So there are differences in the different schools of thought, particularly the Hanafi and Shafi madhahib. So according to Abu Hanifa, it is wajib on every Muslim who are by the means to do so to perform the Qurbani. And according to Imam Shafi, it is Sunnah mu'akkada, which means it's a confirmed Sunnah, but it is not compulsory to do so. And I think the importance of the principle of this issue is that we look to the practice of the Prophet ﷺ, and we know that even though he was not by the means to do so, he lived a very humble life, yet it was something that he performed regularly, and he also encouraged his followers to do so. So there is great reward in doing the Qurbani, and so we encourage those who are by the means, and regardless of your school of thought that you follow, to do the Qurbani for the benefit of the reward that you will be receiving, but also to assist those in terms of the distribution of the meat, who we find in the times that we are living now could very much benefit from, the meat for distribution in terms of food security that we're facing in our country.
Shukran so much. And Brother Shafiq, a follow-up to that. So a question we get all the time, people call in and say, we want to do Qurbani, but we can only afford one. Can I do it for my mother or my father or my family? Or must I do the Qurbani for myself first?
So, Bismillahir-Rahim. With regards to the question, Qurbani can be performed according to Imam Shafi for yourself and your family. So you can do one Qurbani, it covers the entire family. And we take the example from the Prophet ﷺ when he performed Qurbani. He made the niyyah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and he said he's doing the Qurbani on behalf of himself and his family. And then with regards to Abu Hanifa says that with regards to Qurbani, it's wajib, so you have to do it for yourself. And then if you still by the means, you could do it for the family and other members of your family.
Shukran. And Sister Yasmina, just keeping on that topic, can we do Qurbani for somebody that's passed away?
Nazir, Qurbani is prescribed for the living, but it can be done for deceased person in three circumstances. So firstly, as Shafiq referred to now, when you Qurbani for yourself and your family, and you make the niyyah that this Qurbani is for myself and my family, it could include families that have already passed on. So when you make the niyyah for your entire family, there could be members in there that are obviously living, and then those who have deceased. So in that instance, yes, Qurbani can be made for those who have deceased. The second instance is when Qurbani is made for a deceased person as a fulfillment of their last wish. So as a wasiyah, if somebody had made intention to do Qurbani and had passed away before they could fulfill on that, you may then continue with that Qurbani on their behalf because they had voiced their intention to do so. And the third instance is when Qurbani is made independently of the living, as a sadaqah and voluntarily by somebody as a sadaqah for a deceased person, so a family member, perhaps as for your parents, a spouse, or for your child who maybe have passed on, because sadaqah can be made on behalf of the deceased. And in this instance, Qurbani can be made as a sadaqah, and inshallah the reward will reach the deceased, inshallah, because we are able to make sadaqah on behalf of those who have passed on.
Shukran. And Brother Shafiq, what are the Sunnah of Qurbani?
So, Alhamdulillah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. With regards to the Sunnah, the Prophet ﷺ used to perform his Qurbani immediately after the Eid Salah, on the day of Eid. And another Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ with regards to his Qurbani, the first meal that he used to consume on the day of Eid was from his sacrifice in Qurbani. And one of the other Sunnahs also for the Prophet ﷺ is to perform Qurbani. When he performed Qurbani, he said his niyyah, and he took Qurbani on behalf of himself and behalf of his family. So that's what basically the three of the Sunnahs that the Prophet ﷺ used to do on the day of Eid.
And finally, just because Sister Yasmina touched on it and how the meat can benefit those in need, is there any rule set on how we must distribute the meat? Can we keep the full Qurbani? Or what do we do with the meat after the Qurbani?
And with regards to distribution of your Qurbani, so it's recommended you can keep a third of the meat for yourself, and then another third you can distribute to your family and loved ones. And then it's also recommended that you can distribute a third to those in need.
Shukran so much, and shukran to both of you for joining me today. That's our show. Be sure to catch the rest of our series on Facebook and YouTube. As-Salaamu Alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.